Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erin and welcome back to the channel. So for the past week or two, when I log into a certain newsfeed, this one article keeps popping up, titled "The One Expense You Must Cut in Retirement," according to Susie Orman. I deliberately didn't click on this because I thought I knew what the answer was, so I figured, why bother? So a couple of days go by, a couple of weeks go by, and still that article is right there, front and center. So eventually I cave, I click on it because I am a sucker for all things retirement, and I'm like, let's just click on it even though I know what the answer is going to be, let's just make it so it gets off the feed. I knew with every fiber of my being what that expense was going to be, and I bet you have a hunch too. If you're anything like me, you're thinking, it's gonna be a mortgage, pay off your home before you go into retirement. Done. The only problem is, I couldn't have been more wrong. Her answer? That expense is eating out. For you to have money, you have to learn to live below your means, but within your needs. A need is food that you buy at a grocery store. A want is going out to eat at a restaurant and doing it over and over again. She even adds, I'm a very, very wealthy woman, and the last thing I would think about doing is going out to eat. Here's what I'm curious. Were you like me? Did you think it was going to be a mortgage, or did you guess something else? Leave your thoughts in a comment down below. And I want to say that today is my birthday, and to thank you guys for being such a wonderful audience, I want to pick a handful of commenters and send you guys an Amazon gift card. The only stipulation is you have to leave your comment on the first day this video is published. Now let's dig into the topic. When Susie Orman suggests that cutting back on eating out is a great way to cut expenses, that makes sense. According to the data, the typical American eats out 3 times a month and orders takeout 5 times a month. If you add that up, that's 8 times a month on average. Another survey found that 56% of people eat out 2 to 3 times a week, 10% eat out 4 to 6 times a week, and 6% eat out every single day. On average, this can easily eat up 15% of a person's income. We can even break it down by age to see how much the typical individual spends on eating out in a given week. And when we look at it like this, we actually see that it's already the older generations that seem to be spending less on dining out per person and on a per week basis, which really makes sense because I think a lot of it is driven by convenience. When you're in your working career, it's very easy to say, grab lunch out or grab dinner on the way home. I definitely think that dining out as an expense can add up over time. And if you're trying to cut unnecessary expenses, this is a category where you can address and see immediate savings because we all need to eat, but we all don't need to eat out. And that really goes for all ages. If you're in the middle of your working years and you're looking for ways to save a bit more money, you can absolutely tackle this category. And if you're in retirement and you find that your budget is running a little bit lean, yes, look at this category. And while I agree that yes, this expense can add up, I think there's a bigger expense to tackle, and I think that's housing costs. Let's dig into why I think this expense would have a far greater impact on your budget. According to USA Today, 51% of people enter into retirement still carrying a mortgage, and that number has slowly ticked upwards over time. According to Experian, here are the median mortgage balances broken down by age. And we can easily see that those who are at or near retirement age still typically have anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000 or more outstanding on a mortgage. Now, if you've followed this channel for any length of time, you might know what I'm going to say. I don't think it's necessarily a good or a bad thing to go into retirement with a mortgage. I think it depends on your personal situation. If you go into retirement with a very robust nest egg and a good income stream, maybe you're perfectly comfortable carrying that mortgage with you. However, if you want to go into retirement completely debt-free, something I personally advocate for because I think it brings down your risk, it brings down your expenses, I think that's phenomenal too. Surveys show that people often spend 15% of their income on dining out. For retirees, that's a big chunk. But compare that to housing, which according to Fidelity and Smart Assets takes up about 42% of their budget. The impact is clear. Reducing housing costs will give you far more financial flexibility. There's no doubt about it, food is absolutely a larger budget line item, but it tends to fall behind housing and transportation. So if you think you're going to go into retirement and you're going to find that your budget is running a little bit leaner, I would argue for working a little bit longer and tackling those housing costs first. Ultimately, this would create far more breathing room within your budget. Yes, once you go into retirement, you would still have insurance and taxes and repairs, but if you can ditch that monthly mortgage payment, that's a huge weight off your shoulders. The median mortgage payment for someone at or near retirement age is slightly under $1,000 a month. When we compare that to the data that shows that the typical retiree spends about $42 a week on eating out, we can look at it like you can either reduce your expenses by $1,000 or you could reduce your expenses by $182 by cutting your eating out category. Even if you have a household of 2 people, on average, you're going to spend a little bit north of $350 a month on eating out. I'm not trying to be overly critical of this category because we absolutely have a lot of influence on this category, but I truly think if you want to really move the needle, focus on the bigger categories. I think this kind of goes along with the idea of the latte factor. The idea that if you have a $5 coffee every single day, it's going to hamper your ability to build wealth. And I fully agree with that. I fully agree that the little expenses do add up. But I think it's more important to address the bigger expenses first. And I actually think it's more enjoyable to address those bigger expenses. I think if you cut out every single coffee and every single opportunity to leave your house and go to a restaurant, I think you suck some of the fun out of life. I think going out is also partly an experience and a chance to be with others. Whereas I think if you live in a more modest home, that creates more breathing room within your budget. If you purchase a modest car, that creates more breathing room within your budget. It makes it easier to save and invest for your future, which is necessary if you ever hope to step away from the workforce and enjoy your retirement. So if you check the box on housing and keep it modest, and if you check the box on transportation and keep it modest, and you check the box on saving and investing, this leaves you more breathing room within your budget to have fun with your money. And that's really the point, to enjoy the money you make and build the life you want from that. And I feel like if all you ever get to do is sit at home and you don't get to go out and spend your money, you don't have any discretionary income, I feel like that's kind of not fun. I don't really want to go into retirement where I feel like, okay, well, at least I don't have to go to work, but I don't have any money left over to enjoy life. That seems kind of frustrating. So creating a wonderful retirement starts decades prior, during your working years. It starts with buying a home and a car that you can easily afford and hopefully pay off before you get to retirement so you can ditch that mortgage expense. And bringing down your transportation expense so you have more breathing room for fun within your budget. It also starts decades prior by making sure that you're putting something into savings and investments so that you can one day step into retirement with a robust nest egg, so you have money to spend on doing something that you enjoy. Because I don't think it's fun to step into retirement where you have to nickel and dime yourself the entire time. So while cutting out dining out could be smart, I believe in tackling the bigger expenses first. I think that's going to be more impactful. What do you think? Do you like tackling the smaller expenses, or do you like focusing on the bigger expenses? Share your thoughts in a comment down below. I post new videos every single week. If you got anything at all out of this one, please give it a like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, or if you know of someone who might get something out of this type of content, please consider sharing. I'll see you soon. Bye.